How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Hello and welcome back to Heartland Junction. Today we're going to be taking a look at this, the USRA double sheath boxcar in HO scale by Rapido. Alright folks, here we are with the USRA DS boxcar. This is the one that I'm showing you here. If you guys saw either of my HO mystery box openings this year, I did end up getting a total of 9 of these between the silver freight car box and the platinum DCC sound box. This is one that I decided to open for you, and I just picked it random out of the 6 that I had. This is one of the Great Northern ones. This was my second favorite livery. I think the Northwestern Pacific in the green was my favorite, but like I said, I just grabbed one at random to unbox. We did already unbox it during, I think, the silver mystery box, but I'll just show you what you get in here. No accessories or anything. We do have a little bit of instructions and history on the prototype. So let me just show that to you here. So here is the history information. I'll let you pause and read that if you'd like to, but I'll give you a little bit of history in just a minute here after we take a look at the model. On the back side of this we have the exploded diagram with the full parts list. Good in case you have any issues. Most of the ones that I have are good. One of them, which I think actually might be this one, is one of the 2 Great Northerns, actually had a minor problem with the walkway planking at the top of the car. So like I said, I have already had these out of the box, but we'll go ahead and pop this guy open here. I did see, I think 2 people actually who got the Platinum Mystery boxes. I think they were all from the Canada ones. Actually had a few freight cars that they received that were actually missing the trucks, which Rapido apparently did reply to them and replace those. So a couple of minor issues with the factory and getting these cars out. Don't know if it's just because of the holiday rush with the mystery boxes or not, but so a pretty standard packaging here, very similar to what most of the Walthers mainline cars come in that I have. So here is the car. Let me show you this a little bit closer up. Hopefully you can see all right on this camera. I know the last several times that I've recorded with this older camcorder, it doesn't look great on the preview screen, but it looks better when I review the footage. So here you can see the ends of the cars. Now something that I really like about these cars, you've got this, I don't know what this is. I think it's part of the brake system. This just extra detail on there. I hope you can see that all right. Let me see if I can get this light on it a little bit better. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what this is. It's part of the braking system, I believe, but and something else that's really impressive about these, all of these handrails on the side here are all very fine. They're separately fitted, and I believe that they're made out of metal. They feel like metal to me. It was very impressive. Most of the other freight cars that I have are, at least the box cars, are all Walthers mainlines, and they're much less detailed than these are. I mean, obviously, it's still a relatively basic box car. The printing, as you can see, is very nice and crisp. Numbers and everything are really nice. Yeah, this is the one that had the minor quality issue with the roof there. All the other 8 were pretty much pristine, but you can see the doors do not open. It's got good metal wheels. Very heavy car, at least compared to the other ones I have. Just to demonstrate for you guys. Now, I only have one other 40-foot box car by another manufacturer, which is a modernized Walthers mainline car, which is, it's definitely a bit lighter. And let's go ahead and grab the scale here and just show you guys the weight here. Now I do have it set up to ounces, because that is how NMRA judges their weight standard for cars. Let's reset the scale there. Okay, so I believe the standard for a 6-inch box car per NMRA is 4 ounces. So to give you a comparison, the Walthers there is 3.63. So just a hair under there, and then the Rapido one, 3.92, looks like. 3.95, so just about 4, so pretty close to the standard there. Something else I'm noticing, I think it's just because of the slight warping on this particular one. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of gap between the planks there. Actually, it's kind of there all the way through, but it's most pronounced on the little raised spot here. Again, it's only this particular example. I also forgot to mention the brake wheel, separately applied part there, all very nice. Metal couplers. I don't know if these are Katie's or just similar. They feel like Katie's to me. One other thing I did notice when I initially unboxed these, some of the pipe work here with the brake pipes actually does slightly impede the coupler. Now, I have tested this on 18-inch radius and 22-inch radius track, because that's what I have mostly on my HO layout, or will have when I finish the layout, and it doesn't seem to be an issue. I haven't had any derailment issues or coupling issues with these, so even though it does slightly impede the movement of the coupler, it's flexible enough that it doesn't really seem to be an issue. So yeah, that's just the basic look here, so let's go ahead and put it down on the track and run it back and forth with a couple of the other cars, and then we'll go ahead and give you guys my final thoughts and a conclusion on this guy. During the First World War, the United States railroads were struggling to keep up with wartime traffic due to a shortage of serviceable freight cars. In an attempt to solve this problem, President Wilson nationalized the railroads under the United States Railway Administration, or the USRA. One of their first tasks was to develop common designs for new freight cars. Among these were the 40-foot double-sheathed wooden box cars. Starting in 1918, nearly 25,000 double-sheathed box cars were built and delivered to 24 different railroads throughout the United States. The cars were well received. Many cars continued in regular service on many railroads into the 1950s. The 40-foot wooden-bodied cars, with a distinct steel fish belly underframe, featured the double-layer sheathing for a smooth exterior, 40-ton capacity, and common details like the USRA Andrews trucks and KC or AB brakes. Alright folks, we've got our Great Northern USRA DS boxcar down here on the track, and we are just checking it out here. As you can see, it's relatively freewheeling despite it being relatively heavy. It's not the freest rolling car that I have, which might be just because of some of the brake detailing. I'm not entirely sure. Could just be the weight also, but it does run relatively smoothly here. Now, we're going to go ahead and put a couple of the other boxcars down here on the track. Should have done that beforehand. I was going to, but I forgot that my switch over here, my curved Pico switch, is power routing, and there's actually no electrical connections on this section of the track, so it's feeding all of the electricity from the outer loop here and the inner loop. I have insulated joiners there, so this section of track doesn't get any power when I have it switched to the inside line at the moment. Because, like I said, this layout is very much a work in progress. But, alright, let's go ahead and test out the couplers. I got a couple of the other cars over here on the side, and then the locomotive that we are going to be running with the cars here today is the only non-modern era locomotive I have besides the 44-tonner that we got, and that is my ATSF tank engine here. So we had a successful coupling there with the locomotive. How about with the other cars? Yes, it looks like we did. Alright, let's go ahead and run these guys by for you here. This might be a little bit of a struggle. This locomotive is not very powerful. It is a Bachmann locomotive. And it looks like she died on the switch there. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about the financial value as far as these freight cars go. So the retail price for these, I believe, is about $54.95. Now, from a typical retailer like Lombard or Midwest Model Railway, you're going to get them a little bit cheaper. $45, I think, was about what I saw it at Lombard. Well, they only had one particular car in stock. Midwest Model Railway had a much better selection, averaging around $42.13. On eBay, I've seen them anywhere from $40 up to $50 plus shipping. So they are quite expensive. So let's go ahead and go over the ratings that I had. Now I'm rating based on 4 categories, which are detail, quality, performance, and value for money. Detail is pretty hard to fault on these. They've got very good print work. The separately fitted handrails are a very nice touch. The extra underframe detail and the brake piping and everything around the couplers are nice metal couplers as well. They're good and heavy. As far as detail goes, I'm only going to give them 4.5, and the reason I'm not giving them a perfect score is I have seen some freight cars in HO that have movable doors. These don't. They're static, which probably makes them look a little bit better, but just one minor feature, especially for a car that costs $55. Would be nice to see all of the available features in the scale. If it was N scale, I could understand maybe if they didn't have movable doors, but this is HO. I don't think that's unreasonable to ask for. I know it's not a very common feature, at least among premium rolling stock that I've seen, but I have seen some cars that do have that feature. So we'll go 4.5 stars on detail for that. Quality, I also went with 4.5 stars. Again, 8 of the 9 cars I received were flawless. I didn't have a single issue with them. I did have the one Great Northern, which we didn't actually look at today, that had the issue on the roof there with one of the pieces of planking not being fitted properly or warped a little bit. Not exactly sure what happened there. Like I said, I have seen a few other cars in recent mystery boxes come out of Rapido that were missing wheels, although that was not present on any of these models. So yeah, 4.5 on quality there. Again, if we didn't have that one car that I opened that had that minor issue, it probably would have gotten a 5-star. Again, it's good and heavy. It's got metal couplers, metal wheels. Performance, got to give it a perfect 5 out of 5. It's hard to judge performance on a piece of rolling stock as opposed to a locomotive, but it runs very nice and smooth. It's free rolling, at least relatively free rolling enough. It's got functional couplers at the right height. Haven't had a single failure with those yet. Even got them a couple of times on curves, which was kind of surprising. Value for money. Now, these are, like I said, very expensive cars, and I understand that, since the last time that I was really involved in the hobby, at least as far as YouTube goes, things were a lot cheaper then, and obviously the prices of things with inflation have increased drastically, but $55 for a piece of freight rolling stock, a 40-foot boxcar, seems a little bit obscene to me. Obviously, from the retailer like Midwest Model Railway, you can get them for cheaper, around $42, which still seems a little bit steep. But based on the detail compared to the majority of cars that I own, that I've looked at, things like Atlas and Walther's Mainline and things like that, I think that they are just a little bit above. The only thing I own that's probably comparable, I have one Walther's Proto car, which cost me around $50 or $60, I think. That was a special gift to myself a couple of years ago, and I felt, even though it's such a nice car, that was also obscenely expensive. So I think that $42 at the retailer price is relatively reasonable. I think that $55 is a little bit unreasonable, so I'm going to go ahead and split the difference. I'd say for around what I paid for them, actually, because I got them in the mystery box, I actually got a better deal. They were around $36.33 approximately a piece, based on the mystery box price. But again, not purchasing those individually for that price. So going off the typical retailer price, like I said, around $45 to $42, I think that's probably around a 4-star. The full price, I'd probably give it a 3-star on value. Again, you get a lot for your money here as far as piece of rolling stock goes, in my opinion, but it's just a little bit too expensive. $42, I think, is reasonable for the weight and the quality and everything that you get, but it's by no means a bargain, so I can't give it the full 5 stars. So that's going to give us a total score of about 18 out of 20, which I think is a very good score, especially for the first piece of modern rolling stock that I've looked at in quite a long time. So yeah, could I recommend these? Definitely. Based on my experience, if you want to pick some up, if you don't already own them, I would recommend them. Certainly, although I wouldn't pay full retail price of $55 for them. If you can find them cheaper, maybe you can get a couple of them in a bundle or something on eBay. Or like I said, check out Midwest Model Railway. They're the cheapest retailer that I've seen. If you guys know of a cheaper retailer, and again, I'm not sponsored by anybody or anything. This is just one of the ones that I regularly shop with. If you guys know of any other retailers that have them a bit cheaper, go ahead and let me know down in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. Have you guys owned any of these? Did you get any in your mystery boxes? What was your favorite livery that's available for them? And what's your experience with them? Anyway, that's going to wrap this one up here for today. This is going to be a relatively short video, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys have a great new year. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.